Hey, another day. We're working on this front roll cage. Hopefully we can make a little bit of progress today. What I'm gonna try and get done today is make a little front step-up panel or step-up box, I guess, for the front down bar. So I have my spreader plate here, and then I want to put I got a 2x2 inch, some tubing, square tubing that I want to put up here, and I can bring up a little bit, and that's just going to make the front down bar easier to one weld, and then just give it a little more room to drop down. In order to do that, I'm going to use some CAD, or cardboard aided design. Basically, I'm going to take a piece of cardboard, I'm going to get it to fit this template right here, so that I can just put that on the metal piece and then cut out the metal, and it should be pretty close. Alright, here is the standoff. It's pretty close. Should be close enough to get some decent welds in there. It's not quite an exact fit yet. I might do just a little bit more work, but that's pretty close. Basically, once we get this at least tack welded in place, I'll weld a top on, and then, well, we got to clean it up, but once we get it cleaned up, tack welded on, weld on a top, this is roughly where the bar is going to sit. So let's double check that. So my camera died in the midst of me fitting that tube. Let's catch you up. So over here, I got this little box support, kind of tack welded in place. I got the top welded up. And then I actually have my down bar. Right now it's just held on with one tack weld on the bottom. But I've got it up, and on the bottom actually, let's see if this light works. Nope. I don't know if you can see that, but I do have it at least kind of welded up in place. So that, at least for right now, is going to be where this thing sits. And so over there, I have that side kind of done. And now I just need to weld up or bend up that down bar and then get it in. What I did do is I did template this before I welded it up, so hopefully I can at least get close, because I think finishing this probably took me 3 hours to get it to the point where it was close enough to really weld well. I don't want to spend 3 hours trying to fit it again, so I made a template. It should be at least get me close. It's the next day. Sucked down one of my kids' applesauce packets. I'm ready to go. So let's catch you up just in case. This is the down bar for the passenger side, and this is the template I made off of the driver's side one. As you can see here, all I did was I put this template on the existing bar and then drew a line on the bottom of the bar as it sits to give me something to orient this off of. Then I put this bar roughly into position as close as I could get. Alright, going back, I drew a line opposite of this because it's going to be flipped. And then I put this bar into position, aligned the opposite line at the bottom of the bar, and then drew the template. And so this roughly is what I have to cut out. I'm going off the end of the bar just to give myself a little room. The thing is, you can always take a little more material off. Can't really add it back. So I'm gonna take as little off as possible and just work the bar in. Hopefully this should go a lot quicker since I've already templated the rough shape it needs to be based off the first bar. Let's get to work. Welcome back to AJ's Garage. Welcome back to AJ's Garage. I did some work off camera due to something weird happened with my camera's battery and it died while turned off or something. I don't know what happened. So I did some work. We'll see on this side where I'm at. And then we're going to try and do that same thing on the other sides. This is going to be the rear area. So here we have the rear spreader plate area. Here's the spreader plate. It's going to sit like that. I just got to go beat this panel out a little bit from the other side. As you can see, there's these ridges. I just cut a slit down them, the middle of the ridge, beat it relatively flat, cut a hole in there, made a plate. My hope is to get the other side at least prepped today. See how far we can make it. If I can get the side prepped and the spreader plate made, we can start fitting the rear down bars. Once we get the rear down bars fitted and tack welded, we are good to go to drop this thing all the way down, finish weld the cage, then bring it back up and weld everything in place. Once we have it welded, we can work on the dash bar and the harness bar and anything else we're going to do in. But I want to get that part of the cage finished welded before we do any of the other stuff. Let's get to work. I've got the bar fitted, so it should go in here just fine. The trick is going to be getting this plate. I'm gonna try to not tack weld this plate into place. I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of put it there and then use some of those straps to hold the bar in place. I'm gonna see if that works, because I think if I can kind of wedge it between the plate and this main hoop, it should hold. I'm gonna let this little bit cool for a little bit. Probably change out my tungsten since I accidentally dropped it in the pool a little bit. Then I'm gonna remove all the bracing and probably throw a little bit more of a weld on it just to make sure it doesn't move. And while I'm doing that, or while that's cooling, I'm gonna cut my tack welds on the front, and then anything I have on the sides here, and I guess all these zip ties. Outside of the harness bar, this is, sorry, the harness bar and the door bars. This is everything that's needed for the cage. We have our down bars, our front points, our main hoop points, and our rear points, so that completes the 6-point requirement. Our rear down bars are approximately at the proper angle, set 45 degrees. I think they're around 48. And I might put some reinforcement. I might triangulate these corners a little bit. I'm not sure yet. And then I was debating running a diagonal from up here towards this shock tower. Just looking at it, I don't think I'm going to do that right now. If we really deem that's something we want to do, we can. My thought was, 1, it'd be good practice. 2, it would help tie these rear strut points together, because it'd be triangulated. I'd have a, you know, one solid bar going this way, and then one coming in halfway, and then another bar connecting it here. So this whole section would be triangulated. I don't think I'm gonna do that, just because I want to get the part of the cage done that needs to get done. And then I can work on the dash bar and the harness bar and the door bars and the stuff that is required, and get that all welded up. And who knows, if we decide to weld in an X-brace, maybe we can just weld it in from the bottom and kind of forget the top and put some extra gusseting or bracing on it. Because I know in the NHRA rules you are allowed, or you're allowed to not fully weld some seams as long as you have reinforcement, like triangulation. So for instance, let's say you couldn't weld this top part right here for whatever reason. You know, as long as you triangulate with some other bars around that to strengthen the joint, they do allow you to get away with that. These rules do state that you have to have 100% welds around all points of your roll cage, which is fine for this, because this will meet all the rules and requirements for the roll cage. If we did this X-brace back here, it would just be extra. Hopefully this cage actually drops down. I have a feeling, because this bar moved a little bit, you can see where I was aiming for, and it just, the way I welded it, it pulled the bar down. You see, I learned a little bit, and I'm by myself, so it's difficult, but it might need a little bit of tweaking to drop the cage down well, but, and if we can get the cage finish welded today, that would be awesome. All the welding is now complete. So we'll take a quick look. I had some good welds, some bad welds. Now I have to completely weld up the little boxes that I made for the front, and then get everything in position and start welding into the body, which is gonna be a lot of work. All I gotta do now is weld up all the boxes for the front, put everything back in place, probably weld the cage to the plates, and then weld the plates to the body. That one's probably gonna suck because I've already set this bottom of the car on fire several times, but we'll just go slow, keep an eye on it. All right, let's get the boxes welded so we can put the cage back up. All right. So this part of the video of me finish welding the cage, I think I've been out here for 6 or 7 hours. It'll probably be 15-20 minutes on the video, just to give you some idea of how much I'm taking out when I edit it. But to kind of recap, so these are the front boxes. I have them all welded, as you can see. And we have the cage fully welded. So it's welded all the way around on all the bars, so that's there. I know I talked about earlier doing the X-brace. I'm just gonna get this cage in and get the bare minimum requirements in, so that way it's done with. Alright, that's gonna be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If your name is Jake, like and subscribe. Otherwise, the next video will be putting this thing in its final spot. Have a good one.